Hey guys, good evening. Good evening. Hey, great Friday evening. I hope you guys are having a good time at home or wherever you are. If you had a long day of work, if you had a long week of work, congratulations. We are headed towards the weekend. Thank you for joining me tonight. This is the off ramp. I am your host, Thomas Jason Anderson. So it looks like there could be peace in the Middle East, as crazy as it sounds. Uh, it's like slowly but surely different nations within NATO are starting to uh, talk with President Trump and with our military, and we're starting to form a coalition. Um, it's slow going, it seems, right now, but this is proof, okay, that there is peace possible in the Middle East. Before this happened, before you had NATO countries coming in, it was questionable. And here's why. So when you look at the situation with Iran, the reality is even though Iran is this amazing culture, amazing civilization, amazing nation as a people, they are being led by a small fraction of their population who have decided to basically rule ruthlessly at all costs, no matter what it takes. And they're very specialized at killing, raping, torturing innocent people. This is they're masters at it, and so this group of really evil people, they only exist because of the backing of mainly China, Russia, and nations within the EU, European nations, uh, as well as other Asian nations. But at the end of the day, those are the major ones: China, Russia, the EU. They're the ones who put the most pressure on the regime in charge there in Tehran. And so it's almost like a puppet situation. And so when you're in that situation and the nations that are basically the puppeteers of the leadership in Iran, when they're refusing to engage in the situation that's happening now, then all you have is the US military, which is built to destroy and send, you know, any living thing to its unalived place, right? So you've got that force versus a group of individuals who have vowed that they are going to murder their way to heaven. That's just it. I mean, bottom line, okay? When it's those two forces head to head, you're going to only have bloodshed. You're not going to have peace. You're not going to have an amicable agreement where the two sides can, put aside their differences and come together on the things they align with. It's not going to happen when it's the US military versus the leaders of the Iranian regime. You, there's no peace to be had there. I'm sorry. It's impossible for there to be peace there. In order for you to have peace, you're going to have parties that are capable of that. And I just don't think the US military on its own isn't a peace force. It's a war force. I mean, they just changed the name of it to the Department of War. So I mean, it's okay, that's a war force. And then you've got these other guys who are psychotic lunatics. Yeah, when you put those two together, it's pretty hard to have peace, okay? And so that's where my criticism has been. If anyone has been paying attention to what I've been saying lately, once I said that China and the EU and Russia, once they stepped away from this and said, "Hey, we don't want to deal with this anymore," I was 100% for Trump. Just get rid of those guys, send them to hell, goodbye. Because without the Chinese, without the Russians, without the EU nations, there's nothing to negotiate there. I'm sorry. And I saw some stuff that the Pope was saying, and he's been really adamant that no matter what happens, Christians need to stand in on this issue with we need to support peace no matter what. We have to be totally opposed to the US military eliminating the the mullahs or the leadership in Iran. That shouldn't be the Christian position should be for those guys in Iran to not be attacked by the US military. That's the peace position. But the problem I've had with that is it's assuming that peace is an option between these two parties. And I think that's where everyone's making the mistake because people are thinking, I think a lot of people, including the Pope and people in the Vatican, they're looking at Iran like it's its own country. They're not really looking at it like, well, it's its own country, but the leadership there is sort of, they're like a puppet to these other bigger players, right? First of all, I don't think they're acknowledging this reality. First of all, they're viewing Iran as its own nation without outside influence controlling them, which that's just not reality. So I don't think they're tapping into reality. A lot of the religious people right now, like they're not realizing that Iran is a front, that the leadership is a front for other powers like Russia and China and these guys. Okay, so that's the first thing that they're not doing. And then the second thing they're not doing is realizing that okay, so if they're a puppet, what happens when when the puppet master stops controlling the puppet? What does the puppet do? No one's wondering about that, right? No one's thinking about that. And so religious leaders are coming to the table on this issue and they're framing it as Donald Trump wants to attack uh, the Iranian people and their government and they're seeking peace. They don't want war. And so this is senseless, right? But that's just not what's going on. It's just not what's happening. That's not the reality. And so I think that's where some of our religious leaders are getting a little messed up on this. They're not seeing the deeper layers on this. They're not realizing that if the EU nations, if Russia, if China abdicate their position as puppet masters of the Iranian regime, then like they're not accepting that if they abdicate from that, then the puppet isn't going to move, not to their will, which means it's going to do its own thing. And if you listen to those guys, what they're saying is they want to kill anything moving. I mean, this is what they're all about. And so now we have NATO nations stepping up to the plate and saying, okay, we're not going to be hands off, President Trump, American people. We're going to get involved. So the Netherlands has promised some military stuff for securing the Strait of Hormuz. The UK is in discussions with the president now. Other nations will join in. I know I saw some stuff with Ukraine has been pivotal in knocking down a bunch of these Iranian suicide drones. And so the European countries are now coming in. Now the question is Japan going to come in? Is South Korea are they going to come in? Are they going to take part? The Philippines, are other nations going to come in and help not just secure the Strait of Hormuz, but to help the Iranian people have a stable government, right? And not have a situation. I think it would behoove us all, the entire world, including the Iranian people, to not be in a position where their government is being puppeteered by China, Russia, and the European nations. I don't think that's good for anyone. I think it's better if no one gets puppeteered, guys. That's just a thought. I'm thinking it's 2026, okay? And I understand that it's just been thousands of years of stronger nations making puppets out of smaller ones. I understand that you guys understand your history and you're playing it by the book and you're doing it the way any type of civilization would dominate another. I get it. But it is 2026 and we do have nuclear weapons now. We have biological weapons, we have chemical. There's some real dangerous stuff out here. So I'm not so sure if it's a good idea to continue creating puppets out of nations like Iran. Could you guys stop? You know, that's at the heart of the problem here. Okay. And I understand that the Chinese feel like it's their right to make the Iranians their puppets because they're rising to power now. And when you have the power, that's what you do. You turn all the weaklings into puppets and you steal all their resources and you show them who's the strongest. I get that that's their instinct. That's their cultural instinct. They want to dominate like that. They feel like that once they have secured themselves the way they have in the world, that it's their right to dominate nations like Iran. But I would just say this, guys. Like I say, we are in a zone now where there are nuclear weapons, there are chemical and biological weapons. I understand that you guys feel like you want to just dominate people, but I don't know if that's a good idea right now. I think it might be smarter for the Chinese, the Russians, and everyone else to try to just help the Iranian people live their lives without a brutal dictatorship on top of them that you guys are financing and giving weapons to. It might be better for the world. And I know that the religious leaders are not asking you guys to do this. I know the Pope and those guys are not asking the EU nations and China and Russia to stop supporting the maniacal, murderous regime leading Iran. I know the Pope and these guys are not asking these nations to stop doing that. But I think that should be the role here, right? I don't know if the role should be helping protect the puppet from being knocked off the board, right? I think the thing we should be doing right now as religious people is probably telling the puppet masters to stop doing what they're doing, to stop funding violent nuclear bomb needing maniacs. Is that too much to ask in 2026? Are we allowed to just have normal leadership that doesn't need to like blow everybody up? I don't know. And if our religious leaders shouldn't our religious leaders be asking for that at least? You know, that we don't have China and Russia propping up a regime that routinely runs through its towns and cities and villages and grabs anyone who's rumored to be gay and they take them all up and beat them down, rape them, throw them in the back of trucks, truck them into some city, and then they hang them and kill them. Like, I don't know. Can our religious leaders kind of like say, hey, China, don't support a regime that does that to gay and homosexual people? I don't know. Because China doesn't have to support those guys. They don't have to, and I just think it's our role to kind of ask them politely, China, could you please stop supporting maniacal, crazy terrorist people who want nukes? Please. I don't know. I know the Pope hasn't asked you guys, but I'm asking. I don't know if that works or not. But I think that's the problem here. And I think the EU nations have woken up and they are now prepared to do the responsible thing. And I know that's what they're saying now. It's going to be that Trump's going to have to force these guys. But at the end of the day, it's going to take the EU nations, Russia, China. It's going to take them to come together and to stop supporting the maniacs and to start supporting, the beautiful Iranian people and their civilization for the freedoms that they want. I think it's about that time. And I think someone needs to say that these are the guys who have to make it happen. Okay. Stop blaming Trump or the Americans and just get out there and make it happen, guys. The European nations, China, Russia, partner up with the right people in Iran. They've got them, and help those people become, a modern, beautiful, thriving nation, not a monstrous terror machine. Excuse me. So that's my hope and desire. With that said, I guess that's enough for me. My voice is saying yes, it's over. So thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope this sheds some light on the situation that's happening in Iran and gives people a better idea of what's really happening and who really needs to change things over there. It's going to really take the Russians, the Chinese, and the European nations to make a difference in Iran. But if they're going to abdicate that role, then Trump's going to have to like eliminate that civilization. I'm sorry to say it, but like you can't have these guys running around with nukes. They're going to kill a lot of innocent people. And so I'm glad to see these EU nations stepping up to the plate. It's time for Russia and China to do the same. And let's just bring some peace to the Middle East, guys. So anyway, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe if you can and share and like. I will see you guys after the weekend on Monday. Take care. Thank you.
Now I'ma put it down like that. I'm leaving, I ain't coming back. You don't like the way I act anyway. You really don't have to react. Don't try to change my mind, in fact. Honey, I've already packed all my stuff. We're no longer kids, let's move on. And you are not my kid, so I'm done. Please don't make me pull my gun. Sorry boy, I can't be the one. You know it, yeah. Nothing lasts forever. You know that a change will make it better. You know that nothing lasts forever. You know that, yeah, change will make it better. There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think, yeah. You know it, nothing lasts forever. And you know change will make it better. You know it, yeah. And nothing lasts forever. You